each other. Mark was a lot of people, and I know it scared me. And we're also from a generation where all of our parents got divorced. Like, my parents didn't, but they should have. They hated each other. And but all of my friends at school, like, had the dad that, like, lived in the condominium complex with the pool, like, on the other side of town because no one was married anymore. So I think it's scary. And I think we don't talk enough about what happens when marriages do fail. And we really think of divorce as this terrible thing and this stigma here in the States. One of the other cool things about Denmark was that they don't think of divorce as a bad thing. They're just like, you know, you had a relationship and it was great, but it didn't last forever. It's really easy to get divorced in Denmark. It's cheap. You can do it online. And couples, I met some that celebrate their divorce anniversary, where everyone just kind of gets together and hangs out, because why did you spend your life with this person or think you wanted to spend your life with this person and then decide to hate them forever? So I blame the States too, and pop culture. I blame everything on pop culture. I really do, for making divorce seem like it has to be this terrible thing. So we go into it thinking, oh my God, this has to suck. This has to be the worst thing that ever happens to me. And maybe divorce isn't the worst thing. Like, maybe you should be with someone for 10 years and then maybe you should be with someone else. And maybe it's okay that you're no longer married to that person. I think that would make it a lot less scary to get married if we didn't think that divorce was the worst thing that was ever going to happen to us.
Yeah. As we record this, I am not big into British royalty at all, so I'm probably going to mess this up. But they keep talking about how is it her who's had the divorce? One of them has had a divorce.
I know a lot about this only because he's marrying a black woman, and so I have given zero about any of this my whole life. Once there was like a black woman in the mix, now I'm an expert. But yes, so Meghan, who he was getting married, she is busting norms because she's black. She's
a lot less scary to get married if we did. Mark was that they don't think of divorce as a bad thing. They're just like, you know, you had a relationship and it was great, but it didn't last forever. It's really easy to get divorced in Denmark. It's cheap. You can do it online. And couples, I met some that celebrate their divorce anniversary, where everyone just kind of gets together and hangs out, because why did you spend your life with this person or think you wanted to spend your life with this person and then decide to hate them forever? So I blame the States too, and pop culture. I blame everything on pop culture. I really do, for making divorce seem like it has to be this terrible thing. So we go into it thinking, oh my God, this has to suck. This has to be the worst thing that ever happens to me. And maybe divorce isn't the worst thing. Like, maybe you should be with someone for 10 years and then maybe you should be with someone else. And maybe it's okay that you're no longer married to that person. I think that would make it a lot less scary to get married if we didn't think that divorce was the worst thing that was ever going to happen to us.
Yeah. As we record this, I am not big into British royalty at all, so I'm probably going to mess this up. But they keep talking about how is it her who's had the divorce? One of them has had a divorce.
I know a lot about this only because he's marrying a black woman, and so I have given zero about any of this my whole life. Once there was like a black woman in the mix, now I'm an expert. But yes, so Meghan, who he was getting married, she is busting norms because she's black. She's older, you know, she's practically an old maid. She's been divorced. Also, she was on that show Suits, so it's a little thing. But yeah, they're acting like she's this like marked, scarred woman because she's been married before. Like, this is an actual criticism that people have hurled at her. Like, how could Harry, this dignified, you know, British royal, deign to, you know, tether himself to someone?
Let me interject. This dignified British royal that once showed up at a costume party in a Nazi uniform.
Oh, yeah. Let's keep it real,
Harry,
right?
Yeah. Not flawless, Harry.
I was trying to remember if that was him earlier today because they were talking about the wedding.
You're totally right. They're like, oh my gosh, she's this marked, cursed woman because she was divorced. It's like, come on, it's 2018, people.
Yeah. And if anything, she should be a marked woman because she was on a USA drama for a long time. Just kidding. Suits is actually a good show.
It's not like it was a network drama. It was on USA. But also just kidding, because cable dramas are way better than network dramas.
A lot of times,
Accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think you're so right that in this country, if you are divorced, it's like having a big scarlet D on your chest, and it makes it seem like you're unworthy or you're a failure or that something's wrong with you. A lot of my friends who've been divorced they actually, if someone's like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, they're like, no, I'm happy that I was divorced. I had a marriage that wasn't good, and I'm happy that I found the courage and the strength to get out of it, as opposed to staying in it and being miserable and just sort of sinking all your self-worth into not wanting to, reverse that choice.
Yeah, and I think if we didn't have a stigma against divorce, which a lot of countries don't have a stigma against divorce, we could maybe just enjoy these parts of our marriage that were really good and realize, hey, maybe at a different stage in our life, maybe when we're not raising children, maybe when I switch careers, like I might want to be married to someone else. And I know that sounds almost radical to say, and I'm almost uncomfortable saying it because I've been so indoctrinated into American pop culture. But I think if we could just be a little bit more relaxed about the whole thing and realize that marriage isn't a fairy tale, it's not our happily ever after, and it doesn't have to last forever, then we would just be less afraid and we wouldn't feel like a failure if you get divorced. I mean, you shouldn't. It's just another stage in your life. It's not that big a deal. But literally everything in pop culture tells us that divorce is awful, that it's the worst thing ever.
So so this all sounds great in theory. How do we actually go about the process of unlearning all of this stigmatizing, heavy crap that we've all been absorbing about marriage and divorce pretty much all of our lives?
It's so hard. It's really hard. I was having a conversation with an agent in LA. I have this other book. It's a political novel coming out called Charlotte Walsh Likes to Win. And this agent was telling me, she's like, when Hillary Clinton lost, I blamed Hollywood. I blamed Hollywood because pop culture has told us for so long that there's things that a woman can't do. And we've essentially programmed America to believe that a woman couldn't be president. And I was like, you're totally right. And her goal, and I've been talking to her about making Charlotte into something, is to create TV and movies that deprogram us. And I think that that's something that we really need to think about. How can we deprogram our generation? Every generation that's older than us, they might kind of be lost to us, but that's okay because, they'll die sooner than we will. But we have to figure out how to create new pop culture that will deprogram the next generation. So showing different kinds of marriage, showing different kinds of love. And that started to happen with seeing really great gay marriage on TV and in movies, but there's still so much further to go. It's incredible that Prince Harry is marrying a divorced actress on a USA drama who's half African-American. That's awesome, but we just need more of that. And I think that it's incumbent on creators, people that are making books and movies and TV shows and podcasts, to deprogram the culture. Is that too heavy an ask? Is that a lot?
I mean, I'm just a simple podcaster, but I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting my mission. And so that's one of the things that we want to do with Committed, is we want to show different kinds of marriage and different kinds of love, and unexpected marriage, unexpected love, to show people that there's not just one way that you have to be. One of the couples that we have on, it's not a couple, what would you call someone that was three people? So a threesome, I guess, or a triad. But they're not, but they're not a threesome. And so they're in a polyamorous relationship. And since I live in San Francisco, I'm always skeptical when people say they're in a polyamorous relationship, because in San Francisco, people just say it to be cool. But I don't think these guys are just saying it to be cool. And it's a polyamorous relationship led by one of the women. So she's married to the man and married to the woman, and she's the one with two partners. It's not a man that has two female partners, and I think that makes it a little different. And it's really interesting to not look at it in a tabloidy, exploitive kind of way, but to dig into, how does this work? And what does it mean for marriage generally to have three people involved? And that was an incredible episode because it made me want to get a wife. I was like, oh my God, if there could be an extra pair of hands to hold this baby and clean these dishes and help us with dinner, I'm in. I'm all for polyamory now. Bring it on.
Several times on this show, it's a topic of interest, the feminist marriage. It's been discussed several times with different people, and you've mentioned it a couple of times in this conversation. Can you talk about the marriage of equals and what it means to be married as a feminist? How do you do that? What is a feminist marriage?
I think it's really hard to have what I thought of as a feminist marriage and a marriage of equals. I went into my own